him or otherwise, to Republican Senator Orrin Hatch, who's worried about this. Senator, what's going on here?
Well, I've got to tell you, they've had overwhelming majorities both in the House and the Senate, and they're blaming Republicans for blocking the tax bill. Well, there is no tax bill. They didn't even bring one up. They're afraid to bring it up because they know that if they tried to pass a bill that would basically tax half of all small business income in this country and really 1/4 of all employees in this country who work with small businesses, they'd get killed in the election. And so they haven't even come up with a way of resolving these problems even after the election.
Well, what happened? Something's got to happen in this lame duck session, right, Senator? I mean, because if we leave things as they are, all those tax rates revert back to what they were about a decade ago. So everyone's taxes go higher. Now, that's if they do nothing. So they got to do something, or do they? Or do they wait until the new session with the whole new troops?
Well, they can't just sit back and wait because at the end of this year, you're going to have to change all the tables in the tax code. And
well, I know that, but
that's
never stopped your colleagues from doing squat before.
Well, that's right. And there are a number of Democrats who really want those tax rates to go up for everybody. Even the president, who said last year that you don't raise rates, you don't raise taxes during a recession. And then just the other day said that I've got a whole bunch of better ways to spend that money. So he wants to, get the money from the so-called rich. The problem is that the so-called 3% have about 800,000 small businesses that create 70% of our jobs.
No, I know all that stuff, Senator. I guess what I'm answering, because you're an expert, you've been around there, you know how this place works.
Right.
It's going to be a busy lame duck session, busier than many, because you've got 20 various spending measures up for grabs, one to keep the government running. You've got a defense appropriation. You've got them lining up like planes at LaGuardia. Then you've got this tax cut issue to decide. Now, that would make it, if you were to address all of those, one of the busiest lame duck sessions on record. Is anything going to get done during that? Is all that going to get done?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think what they're going to have to do, they do have to resolve this tax problem. And I think
you think
that
is resolved in a lame duck session? They don't try to do with a new session and then make it whatever they decide retroactive?
Well, it has to be resolved, or else there's going to be a tremendous tax increase at a time when we really don't need that. But as far as the other spending bills, my gosh, they're spending us blind now. We're up to 24% of the GDP, where historically it's been between 18 and 20%. And of course, Orszag, who was the former OMB director, says, well, we'll have to live with that. That's reality from here on in. That's not reality. We've got to stop that.
Well, he also was among those saying maybe now's not the time to be hiking taxes on anyone, hold off on the increases for a year or two. Is that shared by enough Democrats, you think, to do just that, to stall them off for a year or two?
Well, you have at least 31 in the House who would be willing to do that, and you've got 5 in the Senate. I think in the end that's probably what's going to happen, is we'll keep the tax relief alive for another 1 or 2 years, and then hopefully we'll have enough Republicans so that we can even make it even more viable and more job creating than what we have today.
All right, good stuff, Paul. Thank you, Senator.